each article, there is a purpose, and this one has three. The three goals in this article are: one, an explanation of the reading process within the classroom context, which involves the reader, the text, and its classroom context and teacher. Two, to develop a productive model that researchers and teachers can better understand the nature of the meaning construction process. And three, to achieve utility by providing implications for practice and new research directions based on the review of a wide body of discipline research. I can certainly state that the goals or the purpose of this paper was achieved.
Thank you, Sadie, for providing us with that succinct and relevant overview of the study's purpose. Now, let us review the study's background. For the researchers' sociocognitive interactive model, they conceptualize reading as a meaning construction process in the instructional context of the classroom. A brief survey of the model reveals three major components: the reader, the text and the classroom context, and the teacher. Although these three areas are discussed in separate components, they work in harmony to facilitate the creation of the meaning construction process.
Hi everyone, I will now present the findings of the reader. Prior beliefs on knowledge, knowledge use and control, the reader's executive and monitor. These are some of the factors that influence reading as a meaning construction process. The past experiences of the reader, assumptions and convictions are some of the factors that make up the reader's prior beliefs and knowledge. These directly affect the reader's affective and cognitive conditions. The affective conditions are motivation to read, stance the reader takes during reading, attitude towards reading and content, and sociocultural values and beliefs about reading. Findings indicate that if the values and beliefs of the reader are not aligned with those of the teacher, it puts the reader in a highly vulnerable position. Findings show that misaligned sociocultural values and beliefs between the reader and the teacher can lead to miscommunication. This can cause breakdown in the reading process itself. The cognitive conditions include background knowledge of language, word analysis skills, text processing strategies, and understanding of classroom and social interaction. However, it must be emphasized that cognitive conditions constantly interact with affective conditions during the meaning construction process. The cognitive conditions are made up of knowledge forms which are built on knowledge structures known as schemata, and schematas are built on readers' experiences. Findings show that schemata aid in memory searches, provide for inference making, and allow text content to be reorganized and reconstructed. Next of the findings is knowledge use and control. This includes constructing, monitoring, and representing meaning. It involves purpose setting, planning, and organizing as the reader draws information from schemata structures, such as prior beliefs and knowledge, to form text representation. However, it is noted that not every text activates schemata that will aid in meaning construction. Sometimes information does not fit into the existing schema, and this may lead to loss or misinterpretation of text. This is followed by the reader, executive, and monitor, which micromanages the meaning construction process. This is where the reader applies metacognitive strategies. They think about their thinking and try to self-correct and monitor comprehension, so outcome of meaning construction can be achieved. Achievement in meaning construction may take the form of acquisition of new knowledge and changes in attitude, values, and beliefs.
The text and the classroom contents. Based on this section, the three most interesting key findings are: one, the learning environment influences students' motivation to engage in learning. How teachers structure their classroom affects students' ability to engage in a text meaningfully. It also engages the reader in how the text is viewed and interpreted. Once the motivation is achieved, the meaning negotiation process is expected. The teacher in this process is likely to produce productive learning in the students. The meaning negotiation process includes 4 aspects, which are the teacher, the reader, the text, and the classroom community. This process initiates a productive, active learning environment. In this process, the teacher creates the environment needed to engage the readers and the selected text. The students engage in conversation about the text, which creates the classroom community that can influence and enhance or change the meaning of the text. This leads us to the third finding, which is meanings are not fixed. Meanings can change based on acquired knowledge, interactions between the teacher and other readers. However, it must be grounded in the text. Students are given the opportunity to share their perspectives, thoughts, and feelings, in which each student's view will be different based on their understanding and cultural backgrounds. By engaging in this shared environment, meanings and interpretation are influenced to change or be expanded upon. The perspective taken on this is a constructivist view. This simply is a view that learning is actively constructed by the learner, as their reality is determined by their experiences. Again, as you can see here, the environment that the learners are situated in activates an engaging active comprehension sessions. The process pops up again, revealing its 4 aspects as meanings are shaped and reshaped in the circle. The text is fixed, however, the meanings are becoming. This process involves an interplay across text, task, source of authority, and sociocultural meanings. The text is the material given to examine. Text meanings will vary as both the teacher and the reader bring different affective and cognitive conditions to the construction of a text representation. Therefore, there will be many interpretations of one text. Task meanings are the interpretations that are assigned to tasks which have both academic and social content. Understanding goals for an activity, knowledge of subject matter, and knowing what will count as a completed task all form academic content, whereas the understanding of the relationship between the teacher and the reader and the understanding of what rules will guide participation forms social meaning. Source of authority meanings refers to a negotiated understanding of where and in whom authority for constructed meaning resides. This simply means that the authority can change in the classroom, which can imply that the teacher is not at the center of the classroom. Last but not least, sociocultural meanings are influenced by the school, the community, and attitudes and values that arise in the classroom. The social life is interpreted by the teacher and the reader as they bring their own unique values.
As we move along through this process, let us discuss the teacher component of the meaning construction process. Confucius observed that when we know the causes that make instruction successful and those that really have no effect at all, we can then become more successful teachers. So let us talk about the ingredients that we need to make a good or a successful teacher. We need a teacher who possesses in-depth knowledge of what to teach and how it should be taught. We need a teacher who is a mediator and not just a spoon feeder. We need a teacher that opens the door to classroom opportunities and learning and allows the student to walk through the process with them. We need teachers who are warm and flexible, and we need teachers who see students as achievers and who are their students' biggest fans in the learning process. Teachers who possess the characteristics of which we just spoke often adopt a collaborative constructivist approach to teaching. These teachers are impacted upon by their prior knowledge and beliefs, as well as their knowledge use and control of that knowledge. So let us discuss some of these prior knowledge and belief factors. First, let's look at the affective conditions. One of the major affective conditions that affect teachers is their instructional stance, and the instructional stance is closely connected to instructional purpose and reader motivation. Secondly, teachers are strongly impacted by their sociocultural values and beliefs. These factors have an irrefutable influence on the teacher's attitude towards and their expectations of the reader. These effects range from communication breakdowns to teachers' stereotyping and expectations for low achievement. As such, it is crucial for teachers to examine, to understand, and dare I say, challenge their existing sociocultural beliefs and values. Only then can the teacher be sensitive to and incorporate the reader's values and beliefs into the classroom meaning process. Let's talk about some of these cognitive conditions. Knowledge of the reader's meaning construction process is information that the teacher must readily have available. The teacher must also have knowledge of the literature and the content area that they are going to teach. 3. The teacher must also have knowledge of the teaching strategies which they would employ to teach the content and literature areas. Critical to the teacher's instructional decision making and helping implementing the selected instructional purpose. Using such strategies in a near automatic fashion are critical to effective instruction so the teacher can free attention for the major task of directing meaning synthesis and construction. Let us discuss the knowledge use and control. Under this section, teachers must focus on instructional decision-making processes and mental instructional representation. As it relates to the instructional decision-making process, teachers establish purpose setting for instruction that reflects the teacher's instructional intent. The affective and cognitive conditions help to shape this intent. So, for example, a teacher's purpose may be to elicit students' responses as it relates to their feelings and attitudes about a main character in a book. This decision, in turn, may result in the rise of a predominantly aesthetic instructional stance. And what about instructional representation? This is created in the teacher's mind during instructional planning as the lesson's purpose, organization, and strategies are considered. As instruction is initiated with the students, the original representation begins to unfold and change within the ongoing instructional process.
Readers bring a wealth of information to the table when they approach text. No two readers are the same, and each will activate schemata in uniquely different ways because of prior beliefs and knowledge. Here in this class, say we are given an ambiguous text from Dr. Robinson, for instance. We are most likely to provide different interpretations of the text because of our different knowledge schemata structures. When planning reading experiences, it is important that we take into consideration readers' prior beliefs and knowledge, their affective and cognitive conditions, the way knowledge is activated and controlled, and readers' executive and monitor functions, because these factors influence how readers engage in reading as a meaning construction process.
In addition to Alicia's points, this
Adding
article
to what
can
my
imply
colleagues have
that
noted,
because
it
authority
was
is
also
shared, it
recognized
can be
that
said that it
helping
takes on
readers
more of a student
understand
centered
that they
approach.
construct
The
meanings
students seem to
not
be the
only of the
main
text that
focus
they may
as
read,
they take hold
but
of
of
their learning.
tasks,
In
sources
addition,
of
the
authority,
inclusion of
and their
everyone as they
sociocultural
express their
environment
thought
helps to
processes,
further the
feelings,
creation
and
of a
emotions
context for
builds
learning
students'
that involves
perspective
the reader
as it
as
forms
well as the
part of the
classroom
classroom
community.
community. Now, what questions do we have or further directions that this article can take? Further research is needed to enable researchers to better understand the affective conditions that influence the reading process. Example, what motivational constellation or set of factors is the most potent or enduring motivator? 2. Cognitive conditions and metacognition related to the reader is in need of further research as a schema theory cannot explain affective conditions. Example, can schema theory be extended to help explain and understand affective conditions such as motivation, attitude, and reader stance. Last but not least, discover the instructional activities that foster comprehension, discussion, and inclusion, which builds readers' perception that they are part of a classroom community. Example: what are the pre-existing successful instructional strategies that teachers use to foster a meaning construction approach to reading in the classroom?
So, our dear viewers, as we leave you tonight, we leave you with some questions to ponder. What strategies can be used to mobilize readers' attitudes, values, and beliefs? How do we as teachers make certain that students do not lose their intrinsic motivation due to the changing of text in higher levels? How can the social nature in which readers construct meaning be capitalized upon in the classroom setting? How can we ensure that readers' values and teachers' values are aligned in reading as a meaning construction process? They often say, heavy is the head that wears the crown. Are you ready to relinquish your dominance in the classroom, to adopt a more constructivist form of teaching between you and your students? Thank you for listening and have a wonderful night.